now we're going to kick it over to you so you can share with us your savings hack this week.
Yeah. Well, this week we got a great one, I think, and I came across this by doing it myself the other day and tried to kind of do a little housekeeping myself, a little financial housekeeping. So this week's savings hack is go over your active subscriptions. We live in a society that just about everything we do charges us monthly now. Or some of that's annually. You have the option of paying annually, but go over them as well. So, any active subscriptions you have, whether that's streaming services, software services, gym memberships, cable, cell phones, any of it. Um, and a good way to do that is I would say is look at the last 3 or 4 months worth of bank statements and just go through everything you're being charged and cancel the ones you don't use, or and even your cell phone, maybe shop that around. But an article came out that I was reading the other day said that the average person spends around $350 a year on subscriptions that are not used, and that's the average person. So I suspect that's obviously going to be higher for a lot of folks. So you're talking $50 a month or better you could save if that number's higher. So go through your bank statement, see what's being charged, go through your subscriptions. If you're not using Hulu, or if you have redundant streaming accounts, that we've had a lot more players come into the market. So maybe you need to analyze what streaming accounts you're using, so what services. You may have Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, Paramount Plus. If you've got 4 or 5 of them, odds are you have some crossover there. So check that out and get rid of the ones you don't need.
Yeah. Well, I know if households generally or anything like my household, then my wife has a couple of her favorite channels, and seriously, it's like two or three, and then I have two or three that I like to watch, and that's it.
Yeah.
So if you keep going back to the same two or three channels, and maybe you only use these other streaming services once in a while, maybe you can live without them altogether and save yourself. I mean, look, $10 a month, that's $120 a year. Um, it may not seem like a lot, but you do that 3 or 4 times, and boy, it starts to add up quick. Just think about putting that in an interest-bearing investment account or savings account, and where that winds up after 5 or 10 years. You're talking some
Yep.
mega bucks.
Exactly. And, Netflix, I believe, came out the other day and said that they were raising their rates again, their monthly rates. Yeah, I believe I may be wrong, and it's $20 a month, I think.
Wow.
So a lot of them are raising their rates. I was actually talking to somebody the other day, and this goes along with checking your active subscriptions. They were paying $70 a month for a streaming TV service, but they actually said the same thing you just said, which was kind of ironic, that there's only 2 or 3 channels they wanted. And they happened to be sports channels. This was a guy, and he liked his live sports. And I said, well, who doesn't like your live sports? I'm with you on that. That's pretty much the only thing I want to see. And it turns out, though, you can subscribe to some individual channels that provide the live sports. And instead of $70 a month, you're spending $15 a month. So that's, I mean, $55 a month just on that one service. So it's a pretty big a low, big hack there, savings that you could have.
Yeah. And obviously it's a decent commitment. You may need a few hours to go
Yeah.
through and make sure you're still subscribed to some of the stuff you think you are, or find stuff that, oh, I went through my credit card statement and lo and behold, I'm subscribed to three things I just had completely forgotten about altogether.
Yeah.
It's easy in the busyness that comes with a normal life in America to not take the time, that is needed to look over those things. But because they are continuous subscriptions that charge you on a monthly basis, it's really worth. I mean, personally, I think every once a year at least,
Yeah.
take a couple of hours, just review it, figure out what's going on, where you can maybe cut back and improve your financial efficiency because
Yeah.
those things do add up.
Yeah, and one more thing that goes along with that, that just popped in my head actually, is subscriptions that auto renew. So a lot of us, a big thing the past year, 6 months to years, you're seeing a lot of these media providers. Everything's becoming a fee service, right? Whether it's Barron's, it's your local newspaper, whatever. That your free information um, is kind of going by the wayside little by little, and you're having to pay for the information you want, at least credible information. So you'll get a teaser rate, and a lot of our listeners probably know what I'm talking about. You'll get a teaser rate of $6 for 6 months, or $1 for 30 days, or who knows, whatever, $3 for a month. But once that goes out, they're real good about locking in your credit card, and in the fine print they talk about it will automatically renew. Well, you may have a new subscription that you don't use anymore that you just forgot you had. But odds are it probably auto renewed at a much higher price than you figured you thought you had it at.
Exactly. Now, that actually reminds me of a handy trick that you can incorporate. If you sign up for one of those and, say you've got a 30-day trial period or even a 60 or 90-day trial period, put in your phone calendar and make sure you've got your notifications turned on, but put that event in your calendar, 3 days or so before it expires. And, put in there the trial period on this service expires in 3 days. Well, you're probably going to forget about it, and then boom, it's going to pop up on your notifications on your phone one morning, and you're going to go, I remember. Do I want to keep that or not? And if the answer is no, you're almost certainly going to have to go manually turn it off.
That
But
is a
you'll
great
catch
idea.
it before you get billed for the next full service period. And not everybody bills on a monthly basis. You might get billed for 6 months or 12 months, so you don't want that to happen for sure.
Exactly. Yeah, no, that's a great idea. I highly recommend doing that and just staying on top of them, and you'll see a big savings out of it.
The Purposeful Podcast.